our home and native land, Toronto's newest pulp culture podcast, covering your favorite comics, collectibles, media, nerderific origin stories, and more. Hosted by your northern neighbor, Joey Pangolinin. Here it is, nerdos and nerdettes, Comics Sing!
Welcome to Comics Inc. again. This is Joey and...
Leonard.
And Canya.
This is Charles. I'm just kidding. My name's Anthony.
every podcast, he's going to be someone else. So I wanted to let you guys know that we all watched Black Panther together with 72 of our friends. Most of them were Kenya's friends, and I was the newbie. And we like to call her the Nick Fury of assembling people to watch group movies together because she's really amazing at that. And also, we want to thank her for organizing that because I think that's a really hard task to do.
It's a lot of me obsessively and compulsively looking at my phone for when tickets go on sale.
Aggressively typing
superpower
again.
at this point.
It
Basically.
is a superpower.
Is it?
Like we knew as soon as you saw it, because like, guys, I have it. I was like, oh, okay, yes, sure,
Yeah,
yes.
so I'll just email money transfer you right away, miss.
Yeah, I'll either buy all the tickets or I'll just yell at everyone to buy the tickets where I bought tickets so that we all coordinate. Like that's.
I get your Facebook invite before the first trailer, so that's how I know movies are coming out.
not through any other medium but Kenya. So thanks again for coming in, guys. We wanted to talk about Black Panther because oh god, it was so good. Like if I'm holding out my hand right now and I realize it's a podcast and sometimes I don't get this yet, but I'm at the very end of the table, and I'm going to say that from end of table to all the way up 6 feet tall. Yeah. It was 6 feet, 0.5 tall.
Oh god, I'm still catching feels from that movie. Like,
yeah.
Don't be afraid to get
It was a good time.
And I'm not afraid. I'm like letting the feels.
Just keep at it.
the feels.
Let me feel everything. I'm doing like the Cyclops. But anyway, today I did look up as well, and guess what, guys? Black Panther surpassed Wonder Woman once again. It's making $421.5 million, and Wonder Woman, of course, $412.6 million in the U.S. box office. So, a hand to Ryan Coogler, first of all.
My goodness, props to that guy.
I found out
like
he was like my age, and immediately I was like, I've not done
This
anything
is
with my
his
life.
I failed.
third major motion picture. Just let that settle in. This is his third major motion picture.
What were the other two?
His first one was Fruit of All Station.
Right.
That was with Michael B. Jordan. That was kind of what got him buzzworthy. There was like a little bit of Oscar buzz around it. The next was Creed. Again with Michael B. Jordan. Yeah. Again, a
There's
fantastic
a formula
movie.
He's a Michael B.
I
Jordan
feel like he
fanboy.
works with a certain person.
He does.
Yeah.
He's working on another movie with Michael B. Jordan, they are BFFs. They're both from Oakland. Like they have a lot of history, I think, together.
I kind of think I'm going to take that from fellow 30-year Ryan Coogler because I'm kind of, you know how Adam Sandler movies, there's always going to be, like, Kevin James is going to be in it,
Rob Schneider.
I'm just going to say it now, but if we were in the world of comics and Kevin Smith, things will always have a Walt in it, a Brian Johnson in it, and a Ming Chen, and, oh my god, Mike Zapsik. Yep. It's always like your same crew. And I think that's what Comics Inc. is going to be is, I don't want to toot my own horn, but then I guess I would be Kevin Smith, so I'd have to put on more weight. And
have a heart attack.
I know. Oh my god. Too soon. No, but we're super happy that you're doing well. Kevin Smith, if you're ever listening to us, we love you so much.
I love your interview with Grant Morrison on Fat Man on Batman.
Oh my god.
I listened to that on repeat.
And you know what? If it wasn't for you and for you bringing your dreams into fruition, I wouldn't be where I am, and we wouldn't be Comics Inc. where we are right now.
100%.
So, thank you. Us. And so, Black Panther, as I was just saying, it surpassed Wonder Woman, and we loved Wonder Woman.
Oh man, I feel like I should feel more bad about that being a hardcore Wonder Woman fan, but I don't.
It's okay. See, but that's the thing. Do you where do you put yourself with that? You know
what? Wonder Woman did amazing for women. Last year was just about oh my god, women, yes. And Wonder Woman did a fantastic job showing portraying women in a film without any of the trappings that we typically have with like how women are portrayed in film. Like we just got strong women that make their own choices, that you know are well whole-rounded characters in which power and strength and courage and all those things do not negate femininity, and femininity does not negate those traits.
Right, that's right.
Right? So that was fantastic. And I think Black Panther just built on that momentum and now gave us a film with wholly realized people of color. And on top of that, women of color. And I think that's why it resonated with me so much more, was to just see the fact that T'Challa, even though he's the main central character, he is surrounded by these incredibly powerful women. Yeah. And they're all each their own personality types. They all represent different things about women.
It's so amazing.
It just built off of what Wonder Woman started. And if anything, I almost think it's even more feminist in a way, because we got... What Wonder Woman did was great, but the central character, of course, Wonder Woman, she does sit in her privilege as being white. Or portrayed as a white-ish woman, right? Even though Gal Gadot is Israeli, so we do have that lens of like ethnicity and race.
That's
there.
right. Yeah.
But like with Black Panther, it was just openly African American women, and it's dark-skinned African American women.
Yeah.
Which
Team
is
dark
like,
skin.
Team dark skin.
Team dark skin. Like these women were incredible, and like. For me, it felt like a feminist movie. Yeah. Like, and I fell in love like that.
Let's talk about the cultural part. Like, there were some people in the audience like wearing like traditional African outfits, and it was like there was like pride there. It was just like
when we came out of the theaters, the amount of people that were dressed in their tribal gear was insanity. I'm like, oh my god, I did not dress up for this event. I'm wearing a hoodie right now.
If you think about if you think about movies that have predominantly African American casts to this point, like really most people can think of only movies about slavery or about like the American urban ghetto.
Yeah.
Like it's a very specific picture of what a black person is in America. Yeah. Whereas what Black Panther did was give us realized people and give us a version in which we can celebrate themselves. Like they can celebrate themselves. That they can feel empowered by their culture, that, you know, being... You know, you're not tied to these specific stereotyped imagery, and even the images of Africa. Like, Ryan Coogler did a fantastic job of showing Africa in a really holistic way.
And do you remember, like, when we came out of the movies, I was like, there's snow? Like, how did that come to be? Like, and then you were like, well, I mean, like any other continent, you know, there's gotta be snow.
There are mountains in Africa. There's Kilimanjaro. There's a ton of mountain ranges in Africa. There is snow in certain parts. Yeah. It's not unheard of. And, like, even the fact that they paid attention to, like, if, like, other directors could have approached Wakanda as, like, blanket African nation, you know, we'll give them some kind of like generic culture, generic African outfit, whatever.
And then when you zoom in on Wakanda, it's like generic sci-fi place.
Exactly. But like what Ryan Coogler and his team did was they're like, hey, how do we like make this celebrate the different cultures in Africa and honor them? So Wakanda instead is made up of these very distinct tribes, each one, and like there's this fantastic, I forget her name, but on Twitter she did this fantastic breakdown of the different tribal references in Black Panther.
That. Yeah, that was amazing.
And it was like they just pulled from so many different cultures, so many different tribal groups in terms of the clothing, in terms of the languages that they spoke, even the hairstyles, like down to the very
and like the patterns on
their clothing. Like it was just so much attention to detail, and the amazing thing about it that I absolutely loved was the fact that they were like, well, how do we create a technologically advanced society that's still steeped in its ritualistic culture?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we see technology as a thing that supersedes ritual, supersedes tradition. Yeah. It ends up erasing that whole part of a culture.
Then it's just irrelevant.
And it becomes irrelevant. Yeah. But here we have a culture that is technologically advanced, but still very much entrenched in its beliefs, and it's entrenched in its understanding of ritual. It's you know, it's not afraid to be a spiritual culture, even though they have so much technology.
That's right.
Yeah.
Their weapons, they have blasters, but they use spears anyway. You know, it's a good sign for a movie if before you can get to the plot, you're already discussing how higher level wise it was amazing. It discussed topics and themes we don't see much.
Yeah, like the level of detail is insane. Like
that's a good sign.
I was reading an article just on like the music alone in Black Panther, and the film composer Ludwig Göransson, he actually worked with Childish Gambino on all of his albums. So and
on some music for Community.
Yeah, some music for Community. He did a lot of stuff there, and he came on board this project, and he actually met through, I think, Donald Glover. He met an African artist whose name I'm blanking on right now. And they met each other. So that African artist actually was like, hey, come on tour with me. Let's go around Africa. Mm-hmm. And through that, he actually experienced a lot of different types of music from Africa and different instruments and different, just cultural practices, because this artist, when he went on tour, he would bring up different musicians from different regions that he was in and kind of incorporate them into his show. So he leveraged this person into, well, how do I create a film score that's going to be as eclectic as the world that we're creating and that honors all of these different types of music. Yeah. And he was able to create this amazing score. And this is outside of Kendrick Lamar's amazing Black Panther album. This is just the film score.
Just like the actual film.
And it's and it's so fantastically done, amazing, done so well. And it's because the team behind it, again, they put a lot of care and thought into how are we going to present this world in a way that makes sense, that can resonate with people, and that people can be celebratory about. Mm-hmm.
And did people celebrate? Oh my gosh,
they really did.
People are still celebrating right now.
Yeah,
you know.
My uncle who didn't read comics is sending me links to this movie because he's like, "Hey, this guy's your daddy, and this movie was great, and we're being represented." I'm like, "Are you gonna read the comic?" He's like,
no. But people enjoy seeing positive representations of themselves. As people of color, exactly. We wanted to be heard. We wanted to be hey, we're more than just I'm brown. I'm more than just Apu at the convenience store.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God.
That's
Filipinos will get a movie one day.
We all want to be represented, and as much as this was a big win for the African American community, this was a win for all people of color because we all saw ourselves in these characters. And,
absolutely.
You know what?
Yeah, hands down, I was I'm for sure Winston Duke.
Yes.
No, I'm just joking. I don't think that.
But
can you imagine though his character M'Baku, this was his first big movie.
Yeah,
he killed it.
Big anything, and he's still in my head with his little one-line quips. I'm really just the cast itself. I don't know.
Which guy was that?
He was the guy, the gorilla dude.
The gorilla dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that challenged him.
I need
challenge him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And who I was super, super in love with after was Nakia and Okoye.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That tag team, it almost reminded me of this is if Wakanda had a Birds of Prey, they would be the leaders of this whole thing.
That can be a spin-off comic.
I put Shuri in there too.
My God!
Yeah. What are those? Oh wait, spoiler alert!
No. There's no more spoiler alert at this point.
All right.
No, she was stellar too. The way they all interacted together.
And honestly, the response to Shuri actually led Disney to donate $1 million to the Boys and Girls Club of America for their STEM programs for young women.
Amazing.
So that's it's already for young women, especially young Black women, it's seeing a Black girl being the technological genius, and probably one that puts Tony Stark to shame.
Yeah.
And then they're oh my God, I want to go learn about this stuff. That could be me one day.
And, just to the people who still haven't watched Black Panther, first of all, one, shame on you. Second of all, how many people in this room have seen it twice?
This one.
Well, this exactly. One, sure. So
I was pointing at Kenya.
I'm actually disappointed in myself for not seeing it a third time. But
you know what? Actually, after seeing it a second time, how do you feel about Michael B. Jordan's character?
You know what? I actually the second time around, because of our post discussion where you talked about how you felt he was a little flat. I was actually paying more attention to him the second time because I was curious to see if
because he was hotter.
A little bit of context. My only complaint with the movie is that he had one mood. That mood is oh man, I'm so angry, and every time I talk, my upper lip just kind of twitches.
Which you know what though? When I watched the movie again and kind of paid more attention to his character, there was slight gradations in his mood, so to speak, and the fact that we have to remember that we were introduced to him as the child first. So I kind of counted that as part of the character of Killmonger, and honestly, the second time around, the scene where he goes to the ancestral plane and meets the spirit of his father became way more emotional the second time, I think.
I did miss that first part.
because
yeah, me too.
Oh right.
Yeah, you guys missed that because you got late. But like the second time around when he meets his father and like